Hello there, my name is Reese, and in my last video I went over the tough to use but when played well, tough to beat merfolk from the trading card game Archetype, which is currently an old lost game that as of now I still haven't found. Unfortunately I don't have any new findings or information to show you at the moment. So if any of you watching have any of the old cards, the rulebook, or anything else Archetype related from back in the day, please let me know either in the comments or in my Discord. Moving on, as the video title shows, the next archetype that I plan on talking about from the game's first set, Genesis, is the first main black archetype, the Skeleton Archetype. The Skeleton Archetype does a great job at showcasing how the reserves in Void can be used effectively in different ways, and it was always a fun deck to watch being played. I'll start things off with the no effect Skeleton. Skeleton costs 1 black material, has a 2/1 stat line, and all the skeleton elements have the skeleton typing. It's cheap and it has perfectly fine stats for a 1 cost. An element in the archetype that I'll be talking about later benefits from having lots of skeletons on the battlefield for its effect, and summoning this can be an easy way to do that. Skeleton Brittle Bones costs 1 black material, has a 1/0 stat line, and has the following effect. If this card is defeated in battle, send this card to the void. While at first this might sound like a directly worse element than the no effect skeleton, there are benefits to having this in your void. Skeleton Hound costs 1 black material, has a 1/0 stat line, and has the following effect. If a skeleton element you control is summoned to your battlefield from your reserves while this card is in your reserves, summon this card to the battlefield while ignoring its material cost. That effect isn't a once per turn, and if you have more than 1 Hound in your reserves, you can summon multiple at the same time, so even though its stat line sucks, if you need elements on the battlefield, then this is a really easy card to get out every single turn. Reanimating Skeleton costs 3 black materials, has a 2/1 stat line, and has the following effect. At the start of your summoning phase, if this card is in your void, you can summon it to the battlefield. It's a terrible stat line for a free cost, but you're able to alchemy summon for basically free with its effect, so if you want to do a lot of alchemy summoning, you want this card. Reassembling Skeleton costs 3 black materials, has a 2/1 stat line, and has the following effect. At the start of your summoning phase, if this card is in your reserves, you can summon it to the battlefield without paying its material cost. While it costs 3 times as much to summon this instead of just summoning the no effect skeleton with the same stat line, this one comes back after a turn for free. If you plan on playing the long game, the benefits that this has becomes more and more clear as the game goes on. Skeleton Bone Collector costs 3 black materials, has a 2/1 stat line, and has the following effect. This card gains +1/1 for every skeleton element in the void. Here's an example of why Brittle Bones is useful. With 3 in the void, Bone Collector will have a 5/4 stat line, which isn't bad at all for a free cost. Next, I'll be talking about one of the rune cards, because its effect helps demonstrate why the other elements coming up are so good. Dark Magic Skeleton Curse is a permanent rune with a 4 black material cost, and it has the following effect. While this card is in play, all elements on the battlefield have the skeleton typing. This one card both messes up so many strategies while enabling so many more. Does your opponent want to summon more slime elements with slime duplication? Too bad, they're skeletons now. Did they want to attach a Goblin Brew to their Goblin Berserker? Tough luck, it's a skeleton now. Did they need to increase their merfolk stamina with Siren Song? What merfolk elements? They're skeletons now. It's a fantastic card, and that's only the half of it, as you'll now see. Skeleton Necromancer costs 4 black materials, has a 2/1 stat line, and has the following effect. When this card is summoned to the battlefield, you can resolve one of these effects. Summon a skeleton element from your reserves to the battlefield without paying its material cost, or take control of a skeleton element on your opponent's battlefield. While Dark Magic Skeleton Curse is on the field, Skeleton Necromancer is broken. That second effect basically becomes Change of Heart from Yu-Gi-Oh, but even better, since you don't even need to return the element until it leaves the battlefield. Now, while we're on the topic of broken cards, the Skeleton Archetype had another one. Skeleton Rolling Bone Boulder. Skeleton Rolling Bone Boulder is an alchemy element that requires 5 skeleton elements to summon, has a 5 black material resummoning cost, has a 0/2 stat line, and has the following effect. When this card is summoned to the battlefield, you can send up to 5 skeleton elements on the battlefield to their controller's reserves. This card gains +2/0 for every element sent to the reserves this way. After this card attacks, send this card to the void. Then, summon all elements in the reserves that were sent there by this card's effect to the battlefield. Do you want to clear your opponent's field and deal 10 damage in one attack? Yes you do. It's so easy to summon thanks to cards like Skeleton Hound and Reassembling Skeleton, and the damage it can deal is devastating. This card is why it was always fun to watch skeleton games. Now I'll move on to the remainder of the archetype's rune cards. Brittle Bones Made Anew is a rune with a 2 black material cost, and it has the following effect. Summon as many skeleton brittle bones elements in the void to your battlefield. Until the end of the turn, these elements gain +2/1. This card's good if you don't need your brittle bones in the void for anything, as it gives them a nice buff before they get sent straight back to the void, where you can then use the card all over again. Skeleton Key is a rune with a 1 black material cost, and it has the following effect. Search your main deck for a rune card with skeleton in its name other than this card and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your main deck. This is your rune searcher. You'll want to run this. Simple as that. Skeleton Reserve Incinerator is a rune with a 1 black material cost, and it has the following effect. Send a skeleton element in your reserves to the void. Do you need to buff Skeleton Bone Collector? Use this. Finally, Skeleton Soul Scythe is an attach rune with a 2 black material cost, and it has the following effect. Attach only to a skeleton element. When an element attached to this card defeats an opponent's element in battle, send the opposing element to the void. Attach runes aren't the most useful on skeletons since their stats aren't really good enough to last more than a turn on the battlefield. But if you need some more permanent removal for one of your opponent's elements, this is a way to get it. The skeletons might not have the best stats, but their effects more than make up for it. The goal of the archetype is to get enough skeletons on the battlefield as possible to deal massive damage with rolling Bone Boulder. Dark Magic Skeleton Curse breaks so many strategies on its own, and basically requires other decks to have rune removal in their decks just because it exists. It's a really fun, somewhat trolly deck that's always so scary to face, but on the outside it's great fun to watch. I hope you enjoyed the third of these 5 videos on archetypes I can remember. Let me know which of the remaining 2 you'd like to see me cover first. If you've got any further questions about the skeleton archetype, or if what I've talked about brought back memories from when you played archetype, please let me know, either in the comments or in my Discord. I'm not going to stop until I see those cards again.